Hello, this is Waswo X Waswo, otherwise known as Evil O, and I'm feeling extremely evil today because I came in search of a certain Guruji named Shine Shivan, and I had to climb to the top of the mountain at an undisclosed location, and I'm really tired and sweaty. But I'm very honored to be in the presence of His Highness, Mr. Shine Shivan. How are you, Shine? Is it good?
Yes, I'm feeling
Are
very
you
nice.
happy to be here?
Definitely.
I came all the way to your throne in the Himalayas.
This place is called Aravali Hills.
Aravali Hills?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this place first?
Yeah.
It's very special to you, you told me.
Definitely,
Okay,
definitely.
tell us about the place.
This is actually the playground where I spent my all childhood when I came to Delhi with my parents and left my beautiful greenish lushy Kerala behind. So in search of a particular space which is green, lushy, with monkeys and peacocks and flowers and ponds and streams, finally I got this place called Aravali as a hub where the aesthetics and the spiritual and psychological and liftment happen to this artist.
I can hear the birds. It's very
Yes.
beautiful here. It's a good location, actually.
Yeah.
It was hard to get up here. I don't know how many kilometers I had to hike up the mountain to get here,
I'm
but
very sorry,
it
but
seems
this
it's
is
like so
The
much.
studio actually.
The studio, yes. So anyway, so this place is very, very special to you.
Yes.
I want to say that when I first became aware of your art, which I do love your art immensely, you know, you were doing the taxidermy thing.
Yes.
And I think that was with, what was the name of the gallery? I'm forgetting.
Mascara.
Mascara, yeah, Mascara Gallery. And you were doing those wonderful taxidermies. Do you want to talk about the taxidermies and how that came about?
Yes. Initially, when I was in Kerala, it was a peaceful and it is a very meditative kind of atmosphere where I used to live. But later, when I came to Faridabad with my parents, it was a torturous, shocking, and it was a painful situation where I left my original parents who breed me, and I'm with my original parents in Faridabad. So I used to run away from the house and used to hide in Aravali while my school days, and I used to bunk classes. And Aravali, in between the Aravali, there is a huge mud pit where the nearby villagers used to dump their animal carcasses.
Ah, okay. I wondered where those animal carcasses came from.
See, there is a profession actually of collecting dead animals, and actually they used to skin it, and finally when it used to decompose, the corpse will decompose. In that stage, what they used to do is they used to collect all the bones for the sugar factory. And it was a procedure which I saw, but in the meanwhile, my time which I spent in that pit was so intense that I used to think about my mother, why she loves me so much. What is this? What is the kind of energy which is flowing in between my parents and me? That why they are loving me, why they are feeding, and why this kind of relations insist in between parents and kids. So I start to discover that I start to interpret myself and my thoughts, that how it deals with my own self. Finally, one day what happened that my daddy was so ill, and I was consciously seeing his body, that when is he going to die?
Oh no.
And
Okay.
how possible to preserve them the way he is, to see him till my life will be.
Okay.
So there are several stories which is behind actually that why I become a taxidermist and how the taxidermy evolved in my art.
Did you teach yourself taxidermy, or did you have some training in that?
See, I was very fascinated by the royals. I was very fascinated by the taxidermist who used to work with the royals. like they used to preserve tigers and antelopes and deers and all. So they used to build trophies to showcase that they are that kind of powerful. So I was so fascinated with the Natural History Museum collection, but I went to them to learn the process. But they didn't taught me the processes that because till 1980s it was banned in India, and one of the famous taxidermist who is working for the Prince of Wales Museum was a taxidermist who was a self-taught taxidermist. So I was so fascinated about that, how to learn taxidermy and how to preserve skins and human bodies and how to deal with body and corpse. So what I did, I started to think about that what is available nearby where I used to stay, and it was horrible that I start to transform my parents' mind to treat my house as a studio to perform taxidermy. So what I did, I started to learn from the taxidermy processes from YouTube.
Okay.
And I start to perform and kill hens and ducks.
YouTube is great. It teaches you everything. I've noticed. I like YouTube a lot.
Yes. So I started to learn from YouTube, and I start to treat my house as a studio to learn taxidermy. I started to bring cocks and hens and dead animals to understand the decaying processes and how the chemicals are working with. So
I just want to say something. When I was young, I used to play with some of that too. I don't know if that's a typical boy thing or what, but I used to we had salamanders around my house, and sometimes when they would die, but they were like freshly dead, I would try to preserve them in formaldehyde and stuff like that. And I was kind of into trying to keep dead animals, and sometimes I would bury them and dig them up later and get the skulls. I don't know if women really understand this, but a lot of boys go through this, I think.
But my mother really understand it, because when I see my father, when I used to gaze at my father's body, or maybe the situation in which he is, then he used to respond like, "Are you Shine want me to die soon?" So my mother actually want her to be preserved in a case, to be seen by me in future. So she appreciates.
So I want to get back to your art though a little bit. So one of the first taxidermy pieces that I remember the ones at Mascara, which were quite beautiful. You had a wonderful show there. And I think there was a back room with an interesting video going on in the back room.
Yeah.
That was almost like a forest.
Yes. Yeah.
Was that forest here?
Yeah, that show was actually called Glimpse of Thirst.
Glimpse of Thirst.
Glimpse of Thirst. And in that particular show, I was totally concentrating about on the ready-mades and the textiles.
Okay.
Textiles. And in the background, I actually wanted to showcase a video which was shot in 2008 for my collection, for my own self, while in a foggy day in December. But when the show was planned, I told to Abhay that I want to showcase that video because it is so. It is a kind of glimpse of Shine in a sexual.
There was some nudeness in it, I seem to remember.
Yes.
Yeah, there was some nudeness.
Yes. So
because it was like a special door you had to go behind to see it. You've always played with eroticism also in your work.
Yes. So it was actually shot in a foggy day.
Okay.
And if you see the video, it will be visible like an open space where you are masturbating in between the trees, in between the nature.
Yes.
But nobody will see you because just like a 5 feet distance in fog, you will not see what the person is doing actually.
Right.
It is not visible. It is a kind of private space where I'm enacting my act of sexuality.
And then I also remember with, not that show, I think it was later, but you did a tapestry out of chicken heads. How did that come about?
See, that came in 2012. I was not doing works to be, there was no purpose as the art world used to see and perceive the art. And the chicken head was an intense work where I transformed my studio to a taxidermy studio. And it was a very tricky and very pathetic situation where I was working with that material, and it was intense that the work was becoming so much powerful than my own life that I was taking risk. Without gloves, I was cutting chickens and treating.
Oh, you
with
did all that
chemicals.
without gloves?
Yes, yes.
Oh, you're
yes.
pagal.
Because it
You
is
really
not,
did that? Oh
Yes,
my
yes.
God, that's very dangerous.
So I thought when it will be over, I will check myself that I'm safe or not.
Yes.
But I was so mad and intensely.
Because there's salmonella and all sorts of things you can get when you work like that, yeah. Wow. Okay, so we should probably get off the taxidermy works. Lately you've been doing, tell me if I'm missing anything, but lately you've been doing these incredible charcoals and cantes, which I just personally, I loved your taxidermy works. I really did. That's when I first noticed you. But I really love these charcoals you're doing. And I think you're using cante or something also. Do you want to talk about those a little bit?
Yeah. While I was in college, there was no materials to be used very freely. You know, like as a person, the way I'm as an artist, I'm a very free flowing spirit. So materials in that some quantity will be not very easy. Like it will be difficult to work in that kind of some amount of materials.
Right.
It is very difficult to work with a tube of oil, and it is very difficult to work. It is not possible to work with bronze and other materials.
And charcoal's a great medium.
The charcoals.
I love charcoal
really.
myself. It's a great
So
medium
I
to work
thought
with.
to work with charcoal
Yeah.
and natural mediums from Aravali, which is abundance here. No, which it is possible to get in abundance. So it
Okay.
is the space from where I collected all the materials, which is connected to my childhood memories and experiences.
And I noticed that in your charcoals you also work in a lot of skulls,
Yeah.
a lot of eroticism. You've been doing charcoals since school years.
Yes,
But
yes.
when did you really start doing a lot of them? Because it seems like you've been doing a lot the past maybe 3 years or something.
Yes. No. I started to work in charcoal in 2001, 2002.
Okay.
There were plenty of charcoals, and there were plenty of Rosetta drawings,
Yes.
which were invented. A very precisely done drawings. It is more precise than etching. So I invented a medium called Rosetta, and I started to do in 2001, and nobody seen it till 2013.
This was the large ones you showed at Sakshi?
No, not in Sakshi.
Okay.
We shown the drawings in Paris Fair.
Okay.
With the gallerist Hervé Pedriol.
Okay.
And some of the galleries, we were all sitting together in a restaurant, and they were discussing about Shine is doing sculptures and taxidermy. Do he do drawing like the way Venki used to do and or the other artists used to do? So I said, I have plenty of drawings in my collection. If you want to see,
When
then I
you
will
say
send to
Venki,
you.
you mean T. Venkana.
Venkana. Yeah.
He was your batchmate, right?
No, he's not my
He's not your batchmate, okay.
So I sent few drawings, images to
Okay.
Hervé Pedriol, and he was fascinated by the drawings, and he said, I want to do a solo presentation in Paris Fair. And finally he did it, and everybody appreciated it. So there was actually in 10 years, there was 8 works. So it was continuously conceived and perceived that how the material is transforming, and how the chemical and the natural mediums reactions will happen, how the poison will enact in a way, so it will hurt to person. So it was a very precisely formulated kind of medium which I invented, and I started
So
to
it's your
keep
own
it.
medium that you invented.
Yes.
I just want to make a full disclosure that I do have one of Shine's charcoals that I bought from Mascara, actually. Hangs at apartment in Bangkok, and I love it. It's called Death of Ingrid as a Dog. No, not Death
Yeah.
as...
That is-
Rebirth of Ingrid as a
Yeah.
dog. Rebirth of Ingrid as a dog,
Yeah.
yes.
So that drawing was actually of my dog.
Okay.
There was a dog which I met in 2012 December.
Okay.
The dog was sitting in front of my house and bleeding from the neck.
Oh, no.
And it was a very chilly, cold day. Then I was working for the show called Glimpse of Thirst. Though I saw the dog, and I was feeling so alone that I have no companion to sit with me. So I invited the dog to my room, and he became my friend.
Okay.
So now the dog is it's still the dog is in my house. So the same dog which I have an attachment and who actually transformed my loneliness to a very friendly kind of environment is the dog which you bought actually.
Yes. It's beautiful. I love it.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite
Yes.
things in the apartment.
Yes,
As long as we're up in the mountains at your cave, can I smoke my chillum?
definitely. Why not?
Okay, I'm going to do that. I'll get you going on the next question, though. Okay, we talked about your charcoals. What would you say are your major themes in your art? Do you want to talk about that at all, or no?
Yes, definitely.
Do you want
Why
to
not?
talk about your themes? Talk about the
Definitely.
themes in your art.
Definitely.
Because we've been talking a lot about mediums.
See, I'm very conscious about my life. The way I started my life till Kerala to the present actually.
Okay.
I miss my house and my relatives, animals with whom I used to spend time in Kerala. Till 2008, I was not able to go back. Until 2009, when I was able to earn some money through my art, and I was able to go and meet them and help them, or maybe stay with them, was a possibility, because
Yes.
that stage was actually. But at that time, the time actually passes very fast. The relatives who used to stay and was with me at that time while my childhood, and the animals who used to stay in that house, all got empty when I reached.
MD?
Means all died.
Oh, no.
All died, and they all were hidden inside the property actually. All were buried inside.
All of them are buried inside
Yes,
the property. Okay.
So when I used to go back, so the house and the relatives and the ambience haunts me. So this time, after many years, I went to that place to live and finally fight my fear and fight I fight with my problems. So I started to live in the house, and it was so terrible that while I know that the people used to wake up at 3 and they used to go to open their tea shop. But at the same time, when they used to get up, the same time I used to get up at present. And it was so disturbing that I was not able to handle these kind of psychological instances which was happening while I was staying in that house. So what I did, I transformed the whole house architecture into several dimensions and possibilities. And when I used to enter to the territory of that property, on the left side there is the cemetery of the relatives. So I build a very aesthetically surmounted kind of a series of stairs, because it will split the thought. When you enter the house, you used to think about your sister who died in your childhood.
Yes.
Yeah, even
okay.
you will think about your uncle, aunt, and your grandmother, father, animals, and everything.
I get the feeling that a lot of your subject matter is very personal.
Yes.
And I notice you write a lot. Sometimes you almost write poems or almost like notes to people.
Yes.
You write like the drawing that you've made is almost like a letter to somebody.
Yes.
So yes.
So it is actually very direct. I have no fear about anything, because I know that the death is very near, and it is passing with us. So why should I fear about myself? Why shouldn't it is possible to express what I'm feeling actually? So that is what I'm doing. I'm not fearing about anybody actually. Anybody means I'm not fearing about what is going to happen. But I'm feeling myself like a very satisfied person, that if I die now,
I find that your
contented.
personality is very contented, and it's almost childlike sometimes, your personality. But that's something good, especially with creativity. Like, I can switch that on and off. Like, when I get into my creative stage, I can get very childlike too. But it's like, then I kind of turn on this, I've got this businessman aspect that comes out in me, which I have to do that.
But it is still with me. Like my wife is.
But you're like a guru, Guruji. You're like a guru.
No, I'm not a guru actually. See, what the thing is, Vaswaji, my wife is a very simple woman.
Yes.
And she doesn't aspire for much. She doesn't want house like in Kerala. People used to think about houses and cars, and money. But I'm not thinking about money, property, and cars. Even she is a very same person whom I met in my childhood when she was 1 year old, and so it is a very fascinating relationship, and we doesn't ever think about that this will turn to a relationship.
Your wife's name is
Rajalakshmi.
And your child's name?
Yashti Madhu.
Yashti
Madhu.
Yashti Madhu.
Yashti Madhu.
Yashti
means,
Madhu.
Yeah, Yashti means a fire torch.
And she's a sweet little girl.
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's what I thought. I was very happy when your child was born, actually.
Yeah.
I thought that was beautiful. I was happy when you got married, too.
Yes.
That was quite beautiful. I just want to talk a little, this is getting long. I want to talk a little bit about your exhibition at Sakshi.
Yeah.
Those works, I don't know if it's true, but Gita Mehra told me that those works you did with a pine needle or something?
Pine needle.
Pine needle?
Yes, pine thorns.
How do you draw with a pine cone? Or is that like a secret?
See, it is a very tough kind of process in which the drawing is inscribed with not pine needles, it is inscribed with the cactus pin.
With a cactus pin?
With the cactus pin. But the line in etching will be small and smooth.
So you're etching on the paper.
But it is not etching on the paper. It is drawing on the paper.
It's drawing on the paper.
But it has a very specific kind of it has a personal kind of touch. There are several things the way I'm using the material. Like I'm using a snake venom with the material. So there are too many leaves which is possible to find in Aravalli Hills. We used to try with that the flora and fauna mixing with gum arabic, and it is done with cactus pin on paper.
Wow!
But it is very difficult to handle the drip, the ink.
Yeah, Gita told me it took you years to finish those.
Yes,
years.
Yes.
And they looked like it. They were incredible. They were absolutely beautiful.
My works are actually not done in like one go.
Right.
You know, like the works which you will see in the next show is started in 2011, and it is continuously kept in the studio because
you're always
all
working.
The sculptures are turned is actually covered in dust.
You mentioned sculpture. I mean, at Sakshi you had that, I think it was a bullock cart.
Yes.
You had two of them turned upside down on each other,
yes.
and then they were sitting in a tray of oil.
Yes.
That was beautiful.
Yes,
that was really, that was very sculptural. I really enjoyed that.
See, there is in each work you will see how the artist is taking risk.
Right.
My studio is not big. When people used to come to my studio, I have a small house, but there is 3 floors. But there is a spiritual message which I got from Nizamuddin Aulia.
Okay.
Nizamuddin Aulia, that you are. I demanded him that I want an object which will be a kind of message, or which will be a tool to travel in. So when I came out from Nizamuddin Aulia's Dargah in Nizamuddin, so I started to walk towards the road, and a bus came.
Okay.
So I thought that this bus will lead you where that object or tool will be. So I reached Mehrauli, and I found this cart on roadside. So I thought this is the same thing which Nizamuddin Aulia want me to pursue and accept. So I went home, and I bought that cart, and I just bring that cart to home, because it is not possible to keep in the house. But how I was able to keep it in the house was a magic.
Yeah, I'm sure. It was great. Anyway, we should probably sort of conclude this. So your galleries now, you're still with Sakshi, yes?
Yeah, she's actually a mother kind of personality.
Gita Mehra.
Yeah,
okay.
She's a mother kind of personality who adopted me
she's wonderful.
as a child. Yeah.
And then you also have a gallery in Brussels.
Yes.
Which is, what's the name of the gallery?
Felix Frachen Gallery.
And they're having an exhibition of yours right now, I think, that was beautiful. And also you have Herve in Paris. In Paris.
And Brussels too. He bought a space in Brussels.
Oh, there's a space in Brussels now too? Okay,
so I
great.
want to tell about Hervé Pedriol actually.
Okay, you do that. You can finish up on that note.
Yeah. The Kanchan Chandar, my mentor and teacher, used to say, Shine, it is not possible to do one artist and two kind of temperaments. It is not possible one artist to be incorporated in Hussein-like, Sousa-like, violent line, and it is not possible to do Rembrandt's-like etchings in the same drawing. It is not possible to engage a single artist in two kind of activity of drawing activity. But later I was totally into drawing, and it is possible to be violent and very spiritual at the same time. So finally in 2012 I met Hervé Pedriol, and I started to I have a curiosity to embed myself. So Hervé Pedriol was the person who introduced me to tribal art.
Okay.
And he introduced me to the core of India, what he was searching till 1975, 80s. So he actually sold his apartment in Paris, and he came with his kid and wife to India in search of the essence of India.
Okay.
So he start to stay in Pondicherry, and he start to collect Janga Singh Sham. He started to work with Richard Long, and at the same time with Jivya Soma Mache and Manimala from Bengal. And he was engaged in Kaligarh painting. He was engaged in Madhubani painting and the cultures from south to north.
Very engaged with India, yes.
I got everything in the apartment.
And he's sort of like, I want to say folk tradition and tribal generally,
Yes.
but somehow he's expanded into more contemporary, including
Yes,
you.
yes.
But somehow you fit into that with your charcoals and things. There is sort of a
Yes,
folk tribal
yes,
type thing
yes.
that goes on in your art.
So I start to study Binod Bihari Mukherjee, Nandalal Bose, Sousa, Hussein. I love Hussein because of the personality and the freedom and the kind of the enigmatic personality he is. The kind of person who have a very very personal and a cool connection with his family too. So he is an icon which I always used to admire than Sousa. So I started to learn. I started to spend time with Jivya Soma Mache in Warli village. I started to spend time with the Madhya Pradesh artist, the in the Gond tribes. I started to spend time with like Madhubani painters, so Kaligarh painters, and the people who are interested in drawings, like the masters.
So you actually worked with a lot of the Kaligat people and the Gond people and whatever, and has come into your art, obviously. There's an incredible freedom to what you do, and it's very strange because I really like what you do, and it's like, I hate to use the word primitive, but it's kind of like early modernism too in ways. It's hard to explain, but it's really fabulous. You can see both strains in there. You sort of see primitivism, but you also see things like, trying to think of the artist's name now, not Picasso, but de Buffet. Something like that. We have to wrap this up. Guruji, Shine Shivan, will you give me your blessing? Give me your blessing, dear. Please give me your blessing on my. Thank you. Thank you for giving me your blessing.
Please.
Shine. Say goodbye. This is Wazwo X Wazwo Evil O with the very, very talented and wonderful Shine Shivan, who made me climb up the mountain, which I will never forgive him for, but it was a very good interview. Say goodbye, Shine.
Nice meeting you too.
Bye. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.